All right. Bad Brothers back again in the PN dub. I felt
who's back.
I felt the last episode was a little sleepy. We're back from Will's house. You had a problem with the dog noises on the last episode? Or is it just because you're keyed into it? Because I thought it sounded fine.
I'm keyed into it. And I was in the car with the volume turned up.
Oh.
So I could hear the ape.
Anyway, I thought it was decent.
The little puppies wanted to be on the podcast.
All right. So last week I felt bad I did not come with the jokes.
It wasn't about you not having jokes, it's that you said you would.
I know that's the part I didn't like. And so I came with the jokes this week, and I got a new go-to for jokes. Well, in just joke theory, I don't like to go for the joke stories that I already have a joke built in.
Oh, yeah.
You know? It's sort of like...
when they write themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I do like
New picture of Uranus.
Exactly. I do like to have some of those, but I think for me, just the personal challenge is to be like, girl shot trying to retrieve basketball out of yard, and then it's like, okay, write a joke about that, and then
I like taking the obvious one and then trying to find a new spin.
Yeah. So, but I found the go-to of the New York Post, which I haven't gotten news from there before, but it's the way they do their headlines. Mm-hmm. So there's a joke.
Is this the online headlines?
Yeah. So there's a joke. It's on next week's episode, but it's about conjoined twins and how the fact that one of them has a boyfriend, but the other one doesn't.
Right.
But they're conjoined.
The Mexican girls? Or
Yeah.
they kind of look Mexican?
Yeah.
I don't know what they are.
They're Mexican.
Okay.
And but the New York Post headline, well, the New York Post is like insane.
Yeah.
But the New York Post headline, which is nothing to do with the
super,
story.
Like left wing, aren't they?
Or
they're just crazy.
I think they're more just crazy.
Clickbaity.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're like...
they're the BuzzFeed of the New York
They're like,
Post
these
world.
girls share a vagina.
Oh, yeah.
But, only one has a boyfriend. And you go in the thing...
Then there's that girl that has
it doesn't
two vaginas.
It doesn't mention vaginas at all.
Oh.
And the story is really just a nice story of those girl. It's an oddity, but it's just, but it's just like
the titles.
Why mention vagina? Come on, New York Post. But a lot of them are like that clickbaity headlines.
Reminds me of BuzzFeed. But then the BuzzFeed articles suck.
BuzzFeed News shutting down.
Oh, it is?
I don't think they could ever overcome the fact that their name is BuzzFeed and people just associate them with tell us your height.
Was BuzzFeed News trying to be serious?
They were. They broke a lot of crazy stories. They had a lot of good writers. They put a bunch of money behind their reporters.
Never heard of it.
I know. I think that's why they're going out of business.
I was just expecting surveys, 10 Amazon products to help your leaking asshole.
No, they have a BuzzFeed News division.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Speaking of assholes, let's get to the jokes.
Okay.
Okay, I've got
music.
I've got. Wait, hold on! Don't say that yet. I've got a couple, and then you're gonna do one, and then I got the rest.
Okay, hit it.
You're not here to say. Wait, do you have jokes?
Sure.
Are you gonna save them for next week?
Sure, I'll do one.
How many do you have?
I'll do one.
Do you want to do it off the top, or you want to wait? or at the top?
I'll be the opener.
Okay.
I'll be the bad opener. Because I was not able to spend much time on this.
I know. I have 2 full pieces of paper.
Barbie is launching its first doll with Down syndrome in an effort to help more children find a toy that represents them. They've also come out with the trans Ken doll with no genitals. Oh wait. That was already like that.
Bottom surgery.
Okay.
That's a good one. There was this quote that just came out from Ryan Gosling about needing to tap into his Kenness or something like that. And people were taking it as serious when obviously it was like so insane. It was like obviously not serious. It was about like, yeah, tapping into his Kenness, and the Ken within him needed to be awakened and all this stuff. When people comment below freaking YouTube videos and on Instagram things and they don't get a joke, that annoys me so much. I just think those people are out in the world. It's like, what else don't they understand? If you can't understand the simplest, this is a simple like A plus B equals C type of joke, and you're not going to understand real life. My
coworker's catchphrase on the train the other day was, "We're not going to the moon." He just kept saying that. Like, they'd be like, "I can't get my ticket pulled up on my phone on the email." Or like, "We're not going to the moon." He's like, "That's what you're here for." And he's like, "No, I'm not." You can figure it out.
That's funny. And the video you sent me was funny with the...
Oh, yeah, that was an old video I found. I could tell by their uniforms they're old.
Oh, was it the company that shall not be named?
Yeah. And then...
Oh, I thought it was in England or something.
Those guys looked British for whatever reason, because they were blasted.
Yeah, so there's a video of... So in frame is 2 guys on a train. They're almost but not quite passed out.
Yeah.
The second guy was.
Drunk or drugs or something.
Yeah. So they're gone. The ticket taker is trying to get him awake.
Yeah.
And I guess what you put together is they called this lady over because she's some kind of nurse.
Yeah. Is there a doctor on board?
Surgeon's assistant or whatever.
She kept saying that. I'm a surgical assistant.
She said it 100 times.
Yeah, she was saying it to the guys in a weird way, like, "I'm a surgical assistant. Give them your ticket." Like, what?
No, the way she was communicating was
even
absolutely
the guy
crazy.
who woke up was like, "What? Like, why?"
Yeah, so the second guy could not even hardly get his eyes open.
But the plugging the nose, that was my favorite part. Anyway, we're describing videos on audio.
It was 5 minutes of this lady who was not an employee of the train just going, "Give him your ticket. You need to give him your ticket. Give him your ticket. You're ruining my vacation.
I'm a surgical assistant."
I'm a surgical assistant. X100. Okay. Now. Oh, wait. You're starting. No, you'd already started.
I know. That's what I said.
Wait, we need to cue the music again because I don't want the music this long.
Bring the music back.
In a new book, Donald Trump praised himself for granting 11 days of memorials to former POW John McCain. But Trump also criticized the ceremony, saying, much like McCain's wars, it never ended. It must have felt like hell for Trump since the memorials lasted 5 days and not 11, as he claimed. And that's a difference of 6, one for every year John McCain spent in, actual torture.
Some people say it's a hoax.
I tripped on my punchline.
It's okay.
Trump hit a familiar note in the book by questioning John McCain's Republican credentials, saying in some ways he was a rhino's rhino. Republican in name only. This is a sort of takes one to know one situation since Trump himself is an ass's ass.
They're elephants and asses.
Okay, now we got Will reading a joke.
I've never seen before. To Do I read the bold thing at the top?
Yeah. It's all, yeah.
Don Lemon was fired from CNN this week, seeking to cut costs and distance themselves from the controversial host. CNN replaced him with two up-and-coming reporters, Kim Strawberry and John Papaya.
Oh, I like that one. It's so dumb, but fun.
Oh. Yeah, I wonder if you could find also like someone else who has the... could have done like strawberry shortcake or something,
yeah.
You know.
It's just funny, like Don Lemon, it just reminds me of like a cartoon where everybody is like a different fruit and like
Larry the cucumber.
Oh. Tucker Carlson and Fox News have parted ways.
Mm-hmm.
Fox News said, "It's not you, it's me." Carlson said, "It's not you, it's the blacks." Come on, don't be drinking.
Sorry.
Don't be drinking while I need you to laugh.
I was going to spit take.
Okay, this is a 5-parter.
Okay.
This is actually...
Oh.
I saw this one on Barstool first, but go ahead.
I forgot I had an intro lined up for you to do your jokes.
Oh, go ahead.
Or should we do it next week?
No, I got a bunch here.
Are you going to edit it back to the top? Or we're just going to start now like you're starting?
Okay, you are going to... Right now, you heard something at the top, and here's where it came from.
All right, put your hands together. It is your other host, Michael Browning. You know him from that story he started 20 minutes ago. Michael Browning.
Courtney Tilia is a Catholic who says God called her to be a porn star.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I promised, and then I didn't come through the last couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I went harder this week and next week. Harder than I normally do. So
like Waka Flocka.
Courtney Tilia is a Catholic who says that God called her to be a porn star. You heard that right. God hand-selected her to be a servant like Jonah. Except this time, she'll be doing the swallowing. Hey, yo. The former Catholic school teacher quit to make videos full-time. Catch her in Sister Act 3, the other whoopee. I like that one. Although Courtney taught at Catholic school, maybe you noticed theology was not her strong suit. She said she was inspired when she heard that Jesus was hung. Now, she said that. She said that, not me. I think that joke is crude, and I would never say that. She said that. Centuries of Catholic women who've sensed a call from God have joined in nunnery and taken a vow of chastity. Asked why her response was basically opposite, she described God's word to her as less frock, more cock.
Oh.
Despite all the hoopla, there's a lot of hoopla. It's just really one article. Hoopla. Despite all the hoopla, the internet star insists she's a normal Catholic. She receives communion, prays to the saints, and shoves rosary beads in her asshole just like everyone else.
And then ask for forgiveness. One. I'm sure John will love those jokes. 2.
John, I'm going to call him John Papaya from now on.
1 papaya. Shoot, what was I going to say? She was a Catholic school teacher.
Mm-hmm. She wore the outfit and everything. Easy transition. No, that's the girls.
Yeah,
not the teachers.
Schoolgirl outfit.
Yeah, it was a funny story because, I mean, it was all about, like, basically
Is she pulling a Nacho Libre who is based on a real person who is doing that on the side to raise money for the orphanage? Is she doing something like that?
No, that is really what she said, that God called her to do that and help liberate her, help liberate other people because she herself, it's a whole, like, repression thing. it's like she's swinging the pendulum the other way. You know,
She
grew up really repressed and everything. And she needed to be liberated on the inside, and you know, doing OnlyFans and whatever is how she's getting there. And blah, 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 blah.
If I could remember the name of this book, she probably read it. It was one that was going around for a while. It was about this lady who was like happily married. Well, not happily married with like a family, or she thought she was happily married. Then all of a sudden she had like this awakening moment, and she like wrote this whole book about it. And it was like leaving her husband was the best thing she ever did. And now she's a lesbian, but it was like a New York Times bestseller, and it was all about like women empowerment.
This sounds familiar. Like we talked about this or something.
Anyways, she probably read that book.
Yeah. I don't know. So I went to her her pictures were on the article, but I went to her Instagram. It's not that she just looks normal. I mean, she's pretty. She's like 35. Mm-hmm. Oh, she has 4 kids.
Yeah.
Well, she was Catholic.
Well, you heard about that one.
So they were, if they were following Catholic teaching, they were.
Did you hear about the kid that got expelled from school because his mom had an OnlyFans? And like the kids found out about it?
Oh, I've heard stories like that,
Yeah.
but I've seen people on like TikTok or whatever that are. I'm surprised some of the stuff that like teachers do, even if it's not saying like go to my OnlyFans, which that happens on there. There's some where it's like
I typed in book bestseller women's empowerment, Untamed by Glennon Doyle.
That's what it was.
Yeah. If you want to.
And she needed to leave her husband or something?
Yep. And became a lesbian. And now she's the happiest she's ever been. In her most revealing and powerful memoir yet, the activist, speaker, best-selling author, and patron...
Multiple memoirs?
Multiple powerful, revealing memoirs.
Then that's when you know somebody has
the patron saint of female empowerment.
No.
That's what the People magazine said about it. It explores the joy and peace we discover when we stop striving to meet others' expectations and start trusting the voice deep within us.
Okay.
But I did see one. Remember that guy who died? The like life coach.
Which guy who died?
The life coach guy. The one who's like, you're the size of a running back.
Oh yeah.
It was a clip from that, and this girl like got married at 18 to this 53-year-old. And like was married for like 10 years or more, like quite a while. And like he did everything for her, provided everything for her. And then he got cancer. And then she said the cancer caused him to be mentally and financially abusive. So she filed for divorce. And he's like, oh, so he got sick and you didn't like it anymore after he did everything for you for the last 20 years or whatever. And he just goes, okay, goodbye. He hangs up. And oh no, he says, how tall are you? 5'4". How much do you weigh? 180. Okay, goodbye. Hangs up.
No.
Then he plays the taps and he like salutes.
Oh my gosh. Who knows? I'm not going to be the one to judge because who knows what happens.
Who gets divorced anyway?
There was another article that came out this week. You know, it wasn't from Am I the Asshole Reddit, which those are insane. But how many of those do you think are real? I don't know. Some are so crazy.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
I don't know, but sometimes people's real life stories come out and they are crazy.
I like all the ones where it's like, I went to my in-laws or whatever, and they do something crazy, and so then the guy like leaves and gets a hotel, and the wife's like, but blah blah, like my family is
The
like
poop
this.
No.
Poop knife. Yeah. Or just like, you know what I mean? Where it's
Yeah.
like a rift between the in-laws or like the
Yes.
family. Those ones are interesting.
There was one that came out this week, and it was like, it was the same thing. Like my boyfriend got cancer, but it was like her boyfriend of like 10 years. Like they owned a home together or whatever.
Yeah.
And boyfriend got cancer. It was too much for me. So I left him, but I'm running a half marathon in his honor.
To make up for it.
It's so crazy.
Mm-hmm. That's just how women are.
Not to make too serious of a point out of it, but I really think, our situation growing up, well, I'll say it this way. Our situation growing up with mom having medical issues, all the time, I do think gives you a certain perspective on life that, whereas like the sickness and in health part of, your wedding vows is like a real thing. Like people talk about it when you're 80, you sort of expect like, hey, you're going to have problems when you're that old, but you might have problems when you're 42 or, whatever. And it's crazy to think about, nobody likes to dwell on that or nobody likes to think that that's real or whatever. But there's a slim chance everywhere, that something could happen or something that's not your fault, accident.
You'd
or
be
something
out with
like
the
that.
boys and you get a little, you're trying to like show off. So you eat a slug and next thing you know, you're paralyzed.
Maybe it could be any of those things.
That happened.
Ron Weasley?
Almost. It was in England, I think. No, he got this weird bacterial infection.
Oh, don't eat slugs out there, people.
Then it thought of me in 5th grade camp where we licked a slug. Like that was a thing, a challenge from the teachers to lick the bottom of a banana slug.
Oh, really?
Because it makes your tongue all tingly.
You got a brain-eating amoeba or something.
Right, from doing my neti pot. Did you know you're supposed to boil the water?
No.
Or use distilled
water, yeah.
But who has distilled water on hand?
You get it at the store for like
Wait, didn't we just
99
talk
cents.
about this? The guy at my work was drinking a gallon of distilled water.
Oh, yeah.
Like, well, you can't do that.
Oh, you know why I was thinking about distilled water? Because there was a video on TikTok going around of a girl like shooting the neti pot or some kind of shooting thing up her nose, and then all the snot comes out the other side.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that video?
I've seen a bunch of them.
Oh, come on, man.
I saw it on myself 2 days ago.
Don't put that in my alg. Wait, do you do that?
Yeah, I have the little squirt bottle.
And you get it, and you do the neti and you get it shooting out?
Yeah, but mine, I do it more of a cleansing of pollen particles as opposed to the big snot dam that's in there.
Oh, yeah. And then somebody did it to their baby today. It's just like...
Oh, how about this?
It's one of those things where it's like I watch, but I don't want to watch.
How about the...
Ugh.
Oh, I think I saw the baby one. Where she did it with the syringe.
Yeah.
It was like...
Yeah.
But that seems too forceful.
That's what I thought.
But then have
the
you
baby
seen
was
these little baby straw things?
No.
It's like a one-way straw. You literally put it in your mouth and it creates suction, but the output is not where you're sucking. It's like somehow goes the other direction. And you suck the snot out of it.
Instead of doing the
little that thing.
Little ball.
Yeah, it's like you put this straw in your mouth and then you put this
I
like
don't think I could do
pen looking, it looks like a marker up into their nose. And then you just...
Oh. It's funny because a loogie or something doesn't bother me.
You know what else they're doing with babies
thinking
now?
about a loogie? What?
You know how...
I don't know.
You know how a
Dipping
cow...
them in acid? I don't know.
You know how a cow gets bloat and they twist that giant screw into their side and just pull the plug and all the air comes out?
Oh, yeah.
That's not what they're doing to babies. But they have this little thing.
You had me in the first half.
It looks like a syringe. And you're supposed to place it in their little baby asshole. And then you pull the plug and it's supposed to release the gas.
Come on.
That's what they're doing.
Just burp your baby and do the legs and you're fine.
Yeah, you can do a massage. The I love
Gentle.
you massage. You're supposed to do
Gentle.
I up one side and then L and then U, and it like follows the intestines.
Seems too convenient.
It's an easy way to remember.
And it's Y, not U.
ILU.
Okay, well, that's the only thing they have going for them.
Is that it's not Y?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, perspective on life.
Yep. Babies. Speaking of medical conditions in life, did you hear?
Oh, wait. No, I got one before you do that.
Mine's quick.
Okay, mine's quick too. Go ahead.
You heard about Jerry Springer?
Oh, wait, let me say mine first.
Okay, I didn't know.
Speaking of old guys who died,
That's not what I said.
he died today.
What?
The date of this recording.
He did?
Yes, because we talked about it in the car an hour ago. Wait, let me tell one story. One of Declan's classmates' great grandpa died,
Okay.
but the wife, the great grandma, was also having some health issues, and so
It has great grandparents.
yeah, and so the mom wasn't there to pick up. The schedule has been a little out of whack. So the other grandpa came there to pick up the classmate, this girl. So he shows up on Monday, and I'm there for once. And Declan runs right up to him. And she's like, he goes, "You're here? I thought you were in heaven." And there was a little bit of realness on his face, but he just goes, "Well, not yet." And then he just turns around and leaves. But yeah, there was a little, 1% of sadness in his eye.
Yeah.
Where he's like,
yep.
I sort of am an old guy.
Yeah. It's funny in kids. There were a group of 72 kids from a private school on the train yesterday.
From a private school?
Shout out Christian school that shan't be named in the Olympia Lacey area. I don't want to dox them.
I'll bleep it. I enjoy bleeping.
Beep
oh, dang.
all of it.
Edit. I just edited a bunch.
And this kid comes up to me. He goes, "Who's in charge of the train?" And he's between 6 and 8.
Joe Biden.
And I was like, Pete Buttigieg? No, I said, "I am. That's why I have this funny hat." And I put my hat back on.
Oh, good one.
And he's like, "Oh." And then he's like, "You tell people what to do?" And then I was like, "Yeah, I tell everyone what to do. What should I tell them?" And so, but then it was
fun
like
to talk to kids.
It was like too much for him when I said, "What should I tell them?" He was just like zoned. He's just like, "Oh."
Everything was on the table. Then.
Yeah,
that's funny.
And then he ended up like someone started laughing at him, and then he ended up running back to his mom. It was funny. And shout out to that school because they had a good ratio of adults to children.
Nice. Yes, let's talk about. So I saw that the news on CNN.com, which is my go-to.
So
it's my go-to website for news.
Yes,
because they have
CNN.
They have a good mix of the headlines. So I go on CNN.com and I just sort of scroll and I look at all the headlines and then I'm out. Very rarely do I click on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have a nice layout. I just get this person died, this person whoever. And who did I see today? Former Cincinnati mayor. Dead. 79. Jerry Springer.
Yeah, did you see that last episode?
No.
Yeah, he was there, and then this doctor came out with the envelope, and it said, "You are not gonna make it."
That's Maury.
And then the crowd, it was like a real melancholy crowd, and they're like, Jerry.
And
Jerry.
Wait, and this is my favorite part. And then he tried to give an emotional speech of what he appreciated living his 79 years on this earth. And then they started shouting, "Don't do Oprah. Don't do Oprah." That was my favorite chant from Jerry Springer.
I never watched it.
Well, that is what I wanted to ask you.
I think it was because there were a couple times where I was like flipping through and I was like, what's this? There's obviously some excitement going on. And Mom was like, don't watch that. Because I have like a stigma in my mind about it. Like, that's a bad show.
I mean, she wasn't wrong.
I mean,
and
yeah,
you're not wrong.
and I was probably like 8 years old at the time.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Do you have any Jerry Springer memories?
Not at all.
Well, I mean, not specific memories.
That's it.
Because you and I both talked about in the car today, we don't have memories, period.
Right.
And if it was 8, you wouldn't have anything because that was before 10.
Yeah. So, no, my memory is it's a bad show. Like, it's like bad. Don't watch it.
Yeah, for me, it was also one of those things where maybe I could flip it on when Mom and Dad weren't home.
Or you have like the channel recall button ready on a different channel.
I never did that.
Last.
Switching
between Comedy Central and Nickelodeon.
It was almost one of those things where it was like, it was so wild and some episodes were so crazy that...
I have seen like the pickle lady clip, the lady who's scared of pickles.
I haven't seen that. What? That's like a nice one.
They bring out a jar of pickles and she's like,
okay, maybe
tries
not.
to run. She like falls out of her chair.
My era of Jerry Springer, I don't know if it's still been this way, but it was before Steve left. So, but it was just all the fights.
Steve,
the bald-headed security guy. Come on.
I don't know anything about it
because it got to the point where they wouldn't even like put the chairs next to each other anymore. Yeah. Sometimes there wouldn't even be chairs on stage. They would just come out and he immediately starts swinging.
I have seen
and
some
obviously,
good clips
some of,
of like the like they find out the boyfriend's cheating or husband's cheating, and it's the wife walking out from backstage, like stomping out, "You bleep 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 bleep."
And it was before everybody was wearing extensions, so when they were like pulling the hair and hair was coming out, it was a real, scalp being filleted.
Oh yeah. I only require one thing of you boys: 50 Nazi scalps.
It was one of those things where it was almost like too much for my brain. Even as like a young teenager, it just hit a threshold where I couldn't even handle it myself. Like a old person trying to watch like a
Rob Dyrdek
rated R, like shoot 'em up or something. And they're like, "Oh, this is too gruesome for me." That's how I was watching Jerry Springer.
I forgot that it was like that when we were younger, that like media was changing so much that like older people are like, "What? I can't watch. What is this?" Where now it's like the other way around, where it's like, this is adult stuff. And like the kids, you know what I mean? It like flipped.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe because like I guess maybe grew up on it faster or something.
But then weren't they watching all that crazy stuff from the 70s?
We could get like beheading videos on the internet when we were 9.
Man, I saw one where it went through his head instead of like behind his head. It was crazy.
Through his head instead of behind his head?
Yeah, like it wasn't on the neck. It was like on most of his head.
Like sliced? What are you saying?
Yeah. Instead of like his head getting chopped off, it like went like through his head.
Ugh. I'm not proud of this, but yeah, when those, I think maybe it was like after 9/11 or no, it must have been before. Anyways, there was
because all that
there was like a spree of beheading people.
Al Qaeda, right?
Yeah. And there was a one where like a guy was on all fours and they just take one of these little curved blades where it goes like this and they saw up. Yeah, he's like on all fours and they just go zzz, 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 zzz.
It wasn't one fell swoop.
No, it was a sawing motion.
Oof.
I know, it was brutal. There's another one in the desert, that reporter guy.
How about the guy who they forgot to search him when they arrested him and he had a gun and he killed himself in the interrogation room? Did you see that one?
No, I don't think I'd watch a shooting one.
It's kind of weird.
Oh, you know what one was crazy? I can't believe we're talking about this. There was one, I watched somebody get stoned to death.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Have you seen that?
No. Were they buried in the ground?
Yeah, so they're like buried up to their waist or whatever, and they were like wrapped in a cloth. Oh, okay, that's making my stomach churn. But it could be all those drinks.
I haven't seen that.
But yeah, people start chucking rocks, and then the blood starts showing up on the shroud and
Shroud.
on the Shroud of Turin. There would not be a nice face print on the shroud. So let's put it that way.
That's a good metal band name. Anything that involves Shroud.
But it's sort of insane that you can just go click and
Oh, yeah.
find stuff like that.
Yeah, times have changed.
And they expect us to just be normal.
Used to just have to go down to the town square for
watch people hanged.
Get people hanged or...
Dang.
What's the other one? The...
Guillotine.
Guillotine. Which didn't...
Guillotine, some people say.
The last guillotine in France was in the 70s. 1970s.
I have heard some people sort of theoretically advocate for it and say it's actually a...
But then have you heard the stories of that scientist that like told his assistant to like, he's like, I'm going to blink. Or he's like, I'm going to just blink as many times as I can after I get beheaded and I want you to record it.
Man, is that real?
And it was like 12 times.
We'd have to do it now.
Yeah.
And sort of like set up the video camera or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, because then there's also like muscle spasms, you know?
Yeah. But I suppose there's oxygen in your brain until it
Maybe
runs
if
out.
he was doing like...
But why wouldn't your brain go into shock?
What if it was like look left, blink, but when you open your eyes are right and blink and then left? It had to be something like real specific, you know?
Well, that's the thing. It's like you'd have to get a command. That would really do it.
Right. Look to the left.
Like the dog paw. Wait, I was listening to something. I was listening to a podcast and they talked about that.
The dog
paw.
buttons?
Yeah.
The button one?
Yeah. Do you still follow that?
No.
Wait, did you
give up on that?
Yeah.
They're in Tacoma.
I know. That's what's weird. That's what I think about. Anyways, are we even talking about anything in this episode?
We're describing
Oh, wait, Jerry
videos.
Springer. Yeah.
R.I.P. There was something.
Oh, wait. I wanted to ask you. Wait. This is maybe a throwback question. Okay. What did you say? Oh, we were talking about that lady with the memoir.
Oh, yeah.
What did it call it?
Untamed.
Okay, Untamed with a self-help book.
Oh, The Guru?
Yeah.
Or
If you wrote a self-help book,
patron saint of female empowerment.
Yes. I love that.
Glennon Doyle.
Catholic. The Catholic episode.
There's a voice longing inside each woman. We strive so mightily to be good partners, good mothers, employees, friends. We hope all this striving will make us feel alive. Instead, it leaves us feeling weary, stuck, and overwhelmed, and underwhelmed. And you know what's missing? Make our lives better? Scissoring.
If you wrote a book that was like self-help empowerment, what kind of book what would your advice be?
I think
like your advice you would offer the world as
it's already
a self-help
I think
thing.
it's already written. And I've never bought it because I was like, oh, I'm done. Got it already.
Oh, I thought you were talking about our list. I was going to say Cambodian custom Vespas.
No, there's a book by...
Not one of the... It doesn't have...
But this is what came to mind.
Doesn't have the F word in the title, does it?
Yeah. Do you know what it is?
No, there's 1,000 of those, though. There's a bunch of F word books now.
I know. Oh, yeah, this is from the offer of Everything is Effed, a book about hope. Mark Manson. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F.
That was in your house in your previous life.
Yeah, one of them. I don't remember which one.
You didn't read it, though?
No, I didn't buy it. I don't need it.
Okay, what would the content be?
No. Yeah, it wouldn't be necessarily that. It would be...
This is a first date. This is an icebreaker.
Yeah, it would be... Don't give energy... Like, don't give your brain energy to something you can't control. I feel like I try to do that a lot. And especially at work, I thought maybe we talked about this recently. Like, a lot of people will try to figure out what's going to happen down the rail and try to plan out things like where you're going to meet the other train that's headed the opposite direction. But
oh yeah, this is the dog. This is a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, but then I was like, it's going to happen either way.
Right.
You're never not going to meet the train going the other direction. Doesn't matter where you do it. There's going to be a delay taken at some point for meeting the other train. Or there won't be a delay. You can't always plan it ahead, you know? And even if you do perfectly one day, it doesn't help you any. So I don't waste the energy doing it or worrying about it, getting worked up about it. But then that also applies to other things, instead of trying to memorize everything in all of our 50 rule books,
States,
yeah,
rule books
or whatever, I instead I memorize where to find how to find the information.
That's a quote I think about all the time. I never looked it up if it was real or not.
What?
Albert Einstein.
Uh-huh.
Do you not know about this?
Maybe.
You share something in common with Albert Einstein.
Oh, a lot of things.
He said...
Sticking my tongue out in pictures.
That one too. The original e-girl or whatever. They cross their eyes too.
Oh, that's something else. I learned about that on the internet.
Not committing anything to memory that he couldn't look up in under 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And these days with the internet and
I
iPads,
know, these days with the Google and the...
all of our rule books now are on an iPad.
I know.
So yeah, that I agree. It's about emotional efficiency.
Now,
that's what I'll call the title of my book. Emotional efficiency.
That's not catchy enough. Do you consider that something?
It's the title of my TED Talk.
Something. I guess you would consider it more something that you are more of an expert in, or find it helpful that way. Not necessarily something like you look around the world and say, this is the number one problem, I think.
I think a lot of people struggle with it. A lot of people struggle with anxiety. A lot of people struggle with, anxiety, social anxiety, things like that.
Yeah.
I think that could help.
Yes.
That's what my book would be.
And you,
We can work on the title.
And you would be a, what was it again? That lady?
Patron saint.
Patron saint. Patron saint of emotional efficiency.
What would yours be?
I was trying to think. It's kind of hard. I think, I don't know. I don't know what you would call it because I think it would sort of be around.
Oh, I know what it would be. It'd be like 200 pages. You just, you're like always like working towards the point,
the last
but
5.
then it's just not there.
Come on. It's there sometimes.
It's in the book too.
It's in next week's podcast.
Part 2 of the TikTok. Stay tuned for part 2.
I think I would make a case for, and I don't even know how I'd make it now, but that's why I'm struggling. But I think it would be along the lines of...
Yeah, just start with the premise.
It would be along the lines of, like, it's worth doing small things to make other people's lives better, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Not that you have to go out of your way and do everything for everyone, although life may, present the opportunity to do something big for somebody at some time. But I feel like now, even like, especially our world is like more disconnected, and it's becoming easier and easier and easier to be your own isolated person. Is like our network of like either being there for somebody in an emotional way or in a physical, tangible way or whatever. It's just all going downhill. I think you and I were talking about that. I don't know if it's on the pod or not, but just like a built-in community where you actually have to interact with people is going away. You can get your groceries delivered, you can get your this, you can get your that, you can get your Amazon, and you just live your sort of isolated life and watch your own YouTube channel. And there's just not as many opportunities where you have to interact or have to be there or have to give, because even if it's in a bad way, sometimes you treat people better just because, you think I might need something from them later, or might need to work with them or talk to them or whatever. And in a way,
it's the LA style.
In a way, it smooths over a lot of bad behavior or whatever sometimes.
Yeah. But
in a way, it, sort of paves the way for nice things to be done for other people too. And I have a thesis that people
hypothesis.
Or hypothesis. Or hypo.
Is it proven?
Hypothesis. That I think a lot of people aren't that far from like positive changes they need to make in their life. What they really need to make those is like a little bit of support. And sometimes that's the freedom to be non-judgmental. Sometimes that's financial. Sometimes it is emotional. Sometimes it's just being somebody that they can talk to. But, I think there would be a lot more personal, people could experience a lot of more personal positivity if they had more people in their life who present that opportunity for them, which means we could stand to give that opportunity to people. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh.
Like I said, you should write it.
Man, we started at the
I think that was like episode 2. I said you should write a book.
Man. I've been writing policies and procedures at work.
There we go.
So sort of. And you know what? We started at the beginning with Catholics and booty holes and things like that, and we ended on making the world a better place.
That's what we do around here.
It's a wide-ranging podcast. And unless you have anything to say,
I just have to say thank you for listening.
I would like to make a plea to you, the listener. Share and come back next week.
Mm-hmm.